On March 1945, the Allies carried out Operation Bowler, one of the most ambitious bombing raids of the Second World War, which targeted the Italian city of Venice. But why were the Allies bombing Venice? And how did the raid go down? Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. As always, thank you so much for joining me here today. Remember to support the channel by liking this video and subscribe to be notified when new videos come out. In April 1943, the Allies had invaded mainland Italy, and after a year of fighting, they had advanced as far south as the Winter Line, a series of defensive positions constructed by the Germans across the entire width of the Italian peninsula. After failing to make any significant gains in the south, the Allies decided to open a new front in the north, with the goal of advancing towards and eventually capturing Venice. The Germans, however, had other plans and instead opted to defend the north as well. This meant that the Allies would face another year of bitter fighting across the Italian peninsula, which was something that the British Air Ministry was keen to avoid. As such, it was decided that the Allies would carry out a massive air raid against Venice, targeting the German supply and communication hubs in the city. It was hoped that this would force the Germans to abandon their northern Italian defenses, allowing the Allies to capture Venice and open up a new front in the north. The plan called for over 1,000 bombers to drop their payload on Venice, with the main attack coming from two directions, from the northeast and northwest. These would be supported by 200 heavy bombers from the U.S. 12th and 15th Bomb Groups, who would fly in from the south. This would ensure that the Germans would not have time to scramble their fighters, as there simply weren't enough of them to cover the entire Italian peninsula at once. To make sure that the raid was as effective as possible, it was decided that the bombs would be fitted with delayed fuses, ensuring that they would detonate once they had passed through the thick stone walls of Venice's many buildings. In total, the Allies would drop over 2,500 tons of bombs on the city. The first wave of bombers approached from the northeast along the coast, flying in over the Adriatic Sea. This was to ensure that the Italians manning the coastal defenses would mistake them for friendly aircraft, as the Allies had by this point taken control of much of the Italian mainland. The first wave consisted of 266 aircraft, and they dropped their payload without issue. A second wave consisting of 297 aircraft then followed the same route and again dropped their payload successfully. The third wave, however, ran into trouble as a result of exceptionally heavy anti-aircraft fire. Of the 289 aircraft in this wave, 12 failed to return. With the third wave taking heavy losses, it was decided that the remaining waves would fly in from the northwest, coming over the Swiss Alps. This proved to be a wise decision, as this route took them right over the German supply lines, meaning that much of the bombs dropped could actually hit their intended targets. Waves 4 through 8 all flew in over the Alps, with waves 4 and 5 each losing 10 aircraft. However, waves 6, 7, and 8, along with the 200 USAF bombers coming in from the south, all completed their attacks without losing a single aircraft. In total, 148 aircraft failed to return from the raid, making this one of the costliest raids of the Second World War. Despite this, the Allies had succeeded in hitting most of their major targets within Venice. However, the aftermath of the raid was far from what the Allies had hoped. While the raid certainly inflicted damage on the Germans within Venice, it also caused extensive damage to the city itself. Entire districts had been wiped off the map, historic buildings reduced to rubble, and thousands of civilians killed. When the news broke of the extent of the damage done to Venice, the British public were outraged. They felt that the raid had been a failure, and that the lives lost had been for nothing. Winston Churchill himself ordered an investigation into the affair, but it concluded that the raid had been a success due to the amount of destruction caused within Venice. As the Allies had hoped, the Germans did attempt to hold on to their positions in the north, launching a massive counterattack in April. However, this failed and the Germans were pushed back. By September, the Allies had pushed the Germans all the way back to the Po Delta, just south of Venice, with the war in Europe coming to an end soon after. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to like it and subscribe to the channel. Also, check out my other videos, which I think you might find interesting. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.